Don't you dare, ref. That she got the ball.
Good morning to all Tottenham fans right around the world. And Champions League football is officially back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And what a night it's shaping up to be. Tottenham come into this fresh off a clinical 3-0 spanking of West Ham on the weekend as we return to action tonight. This time on home soil, under the lights, on the biggest stage in them all, in a massive European heavyweight clash with the Yellow Submarine, Villareal. It is also worth mentioning we do come into this as European champions, of course, Europa League champions from last season, and this is a massive chance to remind the rest of Europe that Tottenham truly do belong amongst the elite. Today's opponents, Villarreal, though, do come into this in fine attacking form, scoring 8 goals in their last 3 La Liga games, making them one of the most dangerous attacking sides coming out of La Liga right now. But it's not all plain sailing for the Yellow Submarine. They are depleted defensively. Key centre-backs Willy Kambwala and Logan Costa are both out injured, and Gerard Moreno also remains a doubt, and their recent loss to Atletico Madrid shows they are vulnerable right now, and this is the perfect time for Spurs to take advantage and build some momentum. Thomas Frank did make some bold calls last time out, giving Xavi Simons his debut, Bergwijn starting over Bentancur, Tell over Richarlison, and it paid off. However, I do expect him to make more changes ahead of tonight's game. So let's break down the 11 that I think Thomas Frank will go with and what each player must deliver to contribute to a winning start to our Champions League campaign. Starting in goals, and Guglielmo Vicario will retain his place from the weekend. He didn't really have much to do against West Ham. I think he had one save to make from Gerard Bowen. Otherwise, it was a very quiet day for him. However, I do anticipate today to be a much more busier night for Vicario. As I highlighted, Villareal do pose a goal threat, scoring 8 goals in their last 3 La Liga games. So Vicario will have to stay switched on and alert tonight from balls in behind, also long shots, and also command his area from crosses and set pieces that will be swung in on top of him. It's a massive night for Guglielmo Vicario. Moving on to right back, and Pedro Porro will retain his place. He was absolutely solid versus West Ham. He tucked in, concentrated on his defensive duties, and allowed Kudos to do the damage ahead of him, which meant then Pedro Porro was nowhere near as exposed defensively as he has been in previous games. But Villarreal, I do expect, will push high and press Porro's side a lot more and test it a lot more than maybe what West Ham did. He will need to pick his moments to go and defend, especially considering Villarreal's fullbacks will push on and make overlapping runs. Tonight, however, I do expect Pedro Porro to get forward a lot more than what he did last week, especially given we were at home, and if we dominate possession, Porro's crossing will be a decisive factor here. There will be space out wide. As I said, Villarreal do like to push their fullbacks forward, which does leave space then for us to be able to operate in, and if we can exploit that, Porro's final ball could unlock the game here for us tonight. At right-sided centre-back, it will be our captain, it will be our leader, Christian Romero, who today in his pre-match press conference has hit back at criticisms of him being rash, which is something we will discuss in today's pre-match build-up leading up to the game, so make sure you get involved in that discussion. But that performance against West Ham, that's exactly how you lead a side as captain. Dominant in the air, composed on the ball, and what an assist for Lucas Bergwijn's header. Romero needs to now bring that leadership and that calming presence once again tonight. These are nights you need your captain to show up. He will be tasked with stopping ex-Arsenal forward Nicolas Pepe, and no doubt we're in for one fascinating battle all evening long. And to partner Christian Romero, it will be Mickey van de Ven, who last week was definitely a man of the match contender. Aggressive defending, calm in possession, and capped it off with a fine goal as well. And with Mickey van de Ven's speed, what I have realised as a pattern in games gone by, that we do start with a bit of a deeper line, but slowly as we gain control of the game, having Mickey van de Ven's recovery place does allow us to push that defensive line much higher, which means then we can start squeezing the opposition, and hopefully we can do the same again today against Villarreal. Mickey van de Ven will be crucial again, both in mopping up counter-attacks and helping build out from the back. And then to complete the defence, I do see many predicted lineups anticipating a change, with Destiny Udogie coming in here for Jed Spence. However, I am of the opinion that Thomas Frank consistently speaks about foundations, and I do think this back five of Spence, Van de Ven, Romero, Pedro Porro and Guillermo Vicario is the exact foundation that Thomas Frank is trying to build off, and right now it doesn't make sense to make any changes to a backline that is keeping clean sheets and giving us the platform to be able to go and win games of football. So I do think Jed Spence will retain his place, although I do think a rest will be on the cards for him against Brighton at the weekend. And Jed Spence was absolutely outstanding against West Ham, added Jared Bowen to his penitentiary and linked up very well with Xavi Simons, showing signs of a potential partnership blossoming down that side. Spence for me is a player that is growing more and more in confidence, and with that also growing more into this team, and right now I do think he is undroppable. Tonight he will likely face Buchanan. He's tricky, he's quick, he loves 1v1s, and he has actually had a good impact since arriving from Inter Milan. He's played very well. So Spencer's aggression and athleticism will be absolutely key in locking down this flank. Moving into midfield, and this is where I do think one of the changes will happen. I do think Rodrigo Bentancur will come back into the side and should return fresh for this one. After the West Ham game, Thomas Frank did allude that Bentancur didn't get back until Thursday. He was late and that he does have to manage these minutes if he wants them to be able to last the length of the campaign, which I think alludes to that Bentancur will come back in for tonight's game, because Frank also said he is absolutely crucial to what we're trying to do here. And I do get it will be harsh on someone like Lucas Bergvall, who was absolutely excellent against West Ham, 1 goal and 1 assist, but Bentancur does bring that calm control and composure, everything you need in a European game, and in my opinion this guy has to start. Bentancur's job is to literally find space, get on the ball, find Xavi Simons and drive us forward. If Bentancur controls this midfield and the tempo of the game for us, it gives us a great opportunity to be able to go and win this game. Partner Bentancur in midfield will be João Palhinha. He got kicked so hard at the weekend that his sock ripped, and he still ended up bossing that midfield. Of course, getting Souček sent off was absolutely pivotal to Tottenham going on and controlling that game. But what I love about Palhinha, it was the braveness of it. I've seen players pull out afraid to get hurt. He didn't. He stood there and he took the challenge like a proper man, like a proper midfield general. But nights like tonight is exactly why we signed him. Against Villareal, Palhinha's job is simple. Keep putting out fires like he's done since his arrival. Protect the backline, pull down the counters, win second balls and set the tone physically in that midfield. Moving into Cam, and I suppose you could make the argument for Bergvall to maybe start in this position here, because when you look at that goal on the weekend against West Ham, he made a run beyond the striker into the box. And when I actually look back on it, it's very reminiscent of what Dele Alli used to do running off Harry Kane. So maybe there is an argument that Bergvall should be given a run in this position to see if he can play it. However, I do expect Papa Matar to continue in this role. Now, before the game, there was a lot of discussion. Should he be dropped to accommodate Xavi Simons in the number 10? However, Papa Matar responded with yet another great performance, made some very intelligent runs, picking up lovely pockets of space to be able to receive the ball, and of course was rewarded with his goal from the corner kick, which he has given special mention to the coach for Jorgensen as well, in terms of highlighting that, saying, Papi, I want you to be here, you are going to score, which I suppose is real refreshing given last year under Ange Postecoglou, set pieces wasn't really a detail that they focused on. But I also think it's the ability for Papa Matar to be able to carry out the coach's instructions, listen to the instructions that he's been given and make them changes and adaptations to his game that will keep him in this Tottenham side. Another huge role again here for Papa Matar. It's very important that he can get on the press with whoever that front line is, look to turn ball higher up the pitch, cause trouble and then get it into the feet of your Simons, up to your Kudos and let them go and punish them. Moving on to right wing, and it is Mr. Showboat himself, Mo Kudus. Back at the London Stadium on the weekend and every touch he took was booed. But this guy doesn't wilt under the pressure. In fact, he thrives off the back of it. He was a constant threat, unlucky not to get a goal or assist. Tonight against Villarreal, just much of the same. As soon as we get you the ball, look to get turned, drive at them, nice and direct, and just provide a little bit of quality in the final third. With Villarreal, they will look to press us at times, so Mo Kudus will be especially important in terms of being an out-ball option, and we all know how good he is at being able to hold that up. Lastly, he will also need to work back and help Pedro Porro at times, who will be put under pressure. Moving on out to left wing, and Xavi Simons will also retain his place. Of course, made his debut against West Ham Not a bad debut, may I add. Came out with an assist after that lovely floated corner kick that Papa Matasar got on the end of. He also showed glimpses of magic. What I liked about him, he wasn't predictable. He wasn't always looking to go on the outside of his man or always looking to cut in. I think he mixed it up very, very well. At stages, he went on the outside looking to cross the ball. But what I loved most was him cutting in off that left, drifting into the middle. A bit like what Son used to do, onto that right foot and looking to cause damage, either play others in or unleash that shot. Tonight, again, I want to see him combine with Jed Spence, drift infield with the ball and attack that half space that is often left there, which then drags players out, means he can feed people in behind, or if they don't come out, means he can have a shot himself. And if he does drift inside, it's very important that Jed Spence goes on the overlap, pulling players with him, and this is a potential partnership that could cause real problems for opposing teams for the rest of this season. And with Villarreal's backline shaken up by injuries, I think this is a massive opportunity for Simmons and for Mo Kudos to stamp their name on the European stage for Tottenham Hotspur. And then moving on to the guy up front. Now, I know there's a lot of debate. Thomas Frank did say that he can't play 90 minutes, but he did question, can he play at that intensity? But he did round it off by saying he is available and ready. However, that word intensity just means to me that I feel like he will be held back and will make an appearance off the bench for Richarlison at some stage, which means I do think Richarlison will be given the nod here. Of course, he came off the bench last time out, and with Matisse Tel picking up an injury, I do expect Richarlison to lead the line tonight. It was also interesting that Thomas Frank said he rested him against West Ham because he played in high altitude for Brazil's last international friendly, and that maybe he just needed a little bit of extra time to recoup than most. So I do expect him to start here today. With Richarlison, we know exactly what we're going to get. He's chaotic, relentless, and he absolutely loves a scrap. With this injury-plagued defence, I do think they will be more vulnerable to set pieces, crosses, and aerial duels in general, which is an area that I do find Richarlison absolutely excels in. And with some of them crosses coming in, especially in the first half against West Ham, I think Richarlison will be absolutely licking his lips here tonight, and I think there will be a few goals for him. So there it is, guys. That is my predicted 11 for Spurs versus Villareal under the lights at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We come into this one buzzing after a dominant derby win. Now it's time to show Europe what this team is made of. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with this lineup? Would you make any changes? And how confident are you that we can get the job done today at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell for more of these predicted lineups ahead of every game this season and the rest of our match day coverage. And as always, come on, you Spurs. In Thomas Frank, we trust.